Hello. In March and April, First Children's Finance administered the Child Care Business Sustainability Survey in Oregon. This survey is a national survey that has been administered in other states where FCF has a presence, but was tailored to be Oregon specific, with questions about Oregon, our funding programs, our work over the last few years, and some of the hot topics we've identified in our state. The purpose of this survey was to understand the financial and operational health of childcare businesses in Oregon. Through questions related to enrollment, staffing, facilities, expenses, sustainability, business practices, and support needs in 2024. Today, we will walk through those sections of this survey and share our analysis of those findings. As we get going, I want to share a little bit about First Children's Finance. We were founded in 1991 as a Community Development Financial Institution, or CDFI. In 2006, we became a national nonprofit organization. In 2008, we expanded to both Michigan and Iowa. And in 2023, we expanded to Vermont. We provide consulting in at least 14 states and more. And now, thankfully, we are in Oregon in 2024. So I want to introduce you to our team. Myself, I'm Dr. Jamisha Wade. I'm the Oregon Director. I have 2 business development managers, 4 business development specialists, and a program specialist. We enjoy serving across the state as we're an expansive team serving you all. So what does First Children's Finance do? The mission of First Children's Finance is to increase the supply and business sustainability of excellent childcare. We do this on 3 different levels: the childcare business level, the community level, and the systems level. The childcare business level is where we partner with providers to strengthen their operations and achieve their dreams. We are there every step of the way. The community level is where we analyze the supply of childcare and identify factors contributing to shortages. We consult with communities to achieve a sustainable child care supply that meets local, economic, and cultural needs. FCF also does work at the systems level by aligning and leveraging existing resources to build on the sustainability of childcare. We change public systems through advocacy and expertise, elevating childcare in policies, practices, funding, and plans for the future. We offer a unique menu of supportive services as far as ongoing education through webinars, through childcare provider trainings, which are all state approved, and through business leadership education in cohorts. We also offer supportive service such as startup support, financial analysis, crisis support in times of need, and business consultation. Here in Oregon, our important work ahead of us is focused on supporting the Child Care Infrastructure Fund, or CCIF. Within this realm, we partner for application support, translation support, and general business and training resources related to infrastructure support and funding. So now that we've got a few formalities out of the way, let's jump into the data about the Child Care Business Survey. So here's an overview of the survey respondents. We were able to directly contact all registered and certified family childcare and childcare center operators. Of the 3,200 providers contacted, we received over 700 responses, with 478 responses being included in the analysis because those providers completed the consent and screening confirming that they are responsible for financial and operational oversight of their child care program. We had about a 12% response rate, and we did compensate for this survey. You can see here that the response rates across the license types are over 10% across all license types, and over 18% of certified family providers responded. The response rate listed is by total providers contacted, not license type representation in survey results. On this next slide, you can see the counties that are represented. And as we know that there are some counties that do not have licensed childcare. And we are diligently working to change that. So I want to share a few demographics. The demographics of the survey respondents is very similar to last year's respondents in terms of age, sex, ethnic identity, and education level, which you can see on our website. The data here by age is an example of those similarities. We saw that there was an increase in respondents who speak languages other than English, indicating that FCF's outreach and partnerships to diverse linguistic communities has led to success. And we appreciate everyone that took the time to respond. We also see that the bulk of survey respondents were either newer programs with under 5 years of experience or those with over 30 years of experience. So we've got to find all of those people in the middle and make sure they participate as well. An average of 40% of respondents by program type have been operating for 5 years or less. 1 in 5 centers and certified family respondents have been in operation for over 31 years. And so I just want to give them a round of applause because that's a crazy amount of sustainability, and we appreciate your service to our communities. Let's talk a little bit about enrollment. Overall, the majority of programs reported stable enrollment across age groups. Toddler enrollment saw the most variability in changes, and family child care is critical to supporting the need for infant care, with 2/3 of family child care providing infant care across the results. Of notable enrollment shifts, centers reported the largest decrease and increase in enrollment values. Toddler enrollment in center programs reported the largest decrease in enrollment, while preschool enrollment in centers represented the largest reported increase. Only 38% of programs reported being at full enrollment, when we always hope to have a target of about 85%, with no differences noted across geography. 45% of centers, 40% of certified family, and 32% of registered family are at the 85% threshold. This may indicate that many family child care programs are perhaps choosing to be under enrolled to meet the needs of the children they currently serve. And I'm sure you all have additional ideas of why that threshold is not being met. And we'd love to hear them as we dialogue about this report. Let's move on to staffing. 68% of centers and 65% of certified family providers indicated that hiring in 2024 was somewhat or very difficult, which we continue to see. A bright spot, 42% of programs indicated that they maintained higher than required staffing. Most of the programs that had higher than required staffing were urban at about 72%. Of programs that reported information on the benefits they provide, the most frequently reported offerings are noted above. When asked if respondents who increased wages or offered other incentives would be able to sustain those costs in the future, 45% of respondents indicated that they were unsure. This is contrasted with the highest number of respondents who indicated that they expanded their increased hourly wage in 2024. One finding of interest was that programs that participate in any public funding were more likely to participate in providing all of the benefits listed in our survey, which are as follows: increasing hourly wages, offering hiring bonuses, bonus pay, health insurance, PTO, flexible scheduling, discounted childcare, educational scholarships. All of these were listed except for contributing to employees' retirement accounts. And there are a lot of conversations about contributing to retirement accounts, and so we hope to see an increase there soon. Let's take a look at facilities data. We found that higher rates of deferred maintenance or putting off repairs, especially for family childcare, were about 47% where about 47% indicated they deferred maintenance or a repair. This is of particular interest to our state office because of recent investments in Child Care Infrastructure Fund, or CCIF. Facility maintenance costs are rising, like everything else, and providers need access to capital to meet these increasing needs. Most providers mentioned taking out high interest loans or using credit cards to pay for emergency expenses. Speaking of expenses, let's talk about liability insurance first. 42% of business owners reported that it was somewhat difficult or very difficult to secure liability insurance for their childcare business. A higher proportion of certified family childcare, at about 54%, and registered family childcare at 37%, reported it was somewhat difficult or very difficult in comparison to centers at 28%. We found that there was no major differences reported across geography. Higher reported rates of somewhat or very difficult among programs that participate in public funding programs, about 46%, compared to those that don't participate at about 37%. When we think about the change in costs, cross expense categories, they are on the rise, especially costs related to food. How many people started a garden this year because food is so expensive right now? So we saw that those reported increases are 25% of a moderate increase, and 54% saw a significant increase. When it came to payroll, 25% saw a moderate increase, 21% saw a significant increase. Utilities, 42% moderate increase, and a 35% reported significant increase. Again, with liability insurance, 36% reported a moderate increase, and 31% reported significant increase. When it comes to facility and home maintenance, 41% reported a moderate increase, and 26% reported a significant increase. For supplies, 49% reported a moderate increase, and 33% reported a significant increase. Learning materials, which is all of our favorite thing to buy, we saw that 49% experienced a moderate increase in those purchases, and 31% experienced a significant increase. These reported increases, of course, are likely due to inflation. So when it comes to sustainability, Let's talk about it. Childcare providers faced financial challenges in 2024 due to rising costs and limited funding. 46% of respondents shared that they felt that the financial sustainability of their childcare business was about the same in 2024 compared to 2023. 35% of businesses felt that their business was less stable, while 19% felt that it was more stable. The slightly larger percent of businesses that participate in public funding reported being more stable in 2024, with those that are participating in public funding reporting 21% versus those who do not participate in public funding reporting 16%. The largest group of responses was program sharing that their program stability was about the same, which was about 46% of all respondents that reported that. It's extremely important that our affairs are kept in order. And so here we notice that most, about 90% of providers, are able to pay rent or mortgage on time. However, 17% report not being able to pay their other bills on time, with registered family child care reporting the highest rate at about 21% not being able to pay their other bills on time. Let's move on to financial health and access to capital. So, when it comes to access to capital, it's an ongoing need, especially for family child care and newer or younger programs. Overall, 17% of programs reported using high interest financing in 2024. 20% of registered family child care providers and 18% of certified family child care providers reported using high interest financing versus only 11% of centers. 33% of business owners reported that they were unable to pay themselves at times in 2024. This was most common among certified family, with about 41% making this report. Business owners who reported their program being in operation for 10 years or less were more likely to report being unable to pay themselves than programs that had been operating for longer than 10 years. A bright spot here is that certified family childcare programs were more likely to report adding to their retirement accounts or personal savings. Saw about 20% of the certified families versus 9% of registered family and 5% of center owners. Overall, 12% of respondents shared that they added to their retirement or personal savings in 2024. So, the majority of respondents, about 54%, reported that they did not access debt to manage their business in 2024. The most common form of debt was credit card debt, where we had 34% of all respondents reported carrying a balance on their credit card. 34% of registered family providers and 41% of certified family providers reported carrying a balance in their credit card versus 20% of centers. We see that centers at about 10% and certified family at about 8% were more likely to have accessed a bank loan than registered family child care at only about 2%. So family child care have higher rates of using a personal loan for their business, with 10% of registered family child care and 17% of certified family childcare reporting their use and 5% versus 5% of centers. So programs in operation for 2 years or less were most likely to report getting a loan from a family friend, with 21% of respondents reporting this versus 13% of programs overall. A lot of data for you there, so I'll give you a minute. So across all respondents, using an emergency grant if and when they're available, which we know is rare, 35% of respondents, or a credit card, 34% of respondents, were the most commonly selected ways that business owners would access funds to pay for a large, unexpected business expense, such as a furnace failure, needing a new roof, or substantial plumbing repairs. 31% of respondents that were centers and 28% of certified family child care providers were more likely to select using a savings account to pay for a large expense than registered family child care at only 13%. Registered family child care and certified family child care selected that they would use a credit card at a higher rate than centers. Registered family child care selected that they would use a loan from a CDFI or nonprofit institution at much lower rates, only about 1% of respondents, than certified family child care, about 7% of respondents, and centers, only about 12% of respondents reported using a loan from a CDFI or a nonprofit institution. So let's talk a little bit about business practices and support needs. So ongoing and increased public funding and supports for facilities improvements are critical to childcare business sustainability, especially for newer programs and family childcare, which provide the majority of infant care. Younger or newer programs with about less than 2 years indicated a need for marketing support. Also, those are less likely to participate in public funding programs than older programs at about 20%. This indicates that early and consistent outreach to younger programs is important to supporting their long-term success. Facility improvement grants, accessing public funding streams, and training and professional development were the most commonly selected supports that business owners felt would be particularly beneficial for managing their childcare business. The top 3 most common responses were consistent across facility type, geography, and program age. The differences in the top 3 included the following: taxes, everybody's favorite, was in the top 3 for registered family childcare. Insurance and legal questions were in the top 3 for more rural programs. Marketing was in the top 3 for programs that had been operating for 2 years or less than 5, less, and programs that had been operating 3 to 5 years. So this slide in particular is a great example of how we can use survey results and some of the reported needs to inform the supports and services provided to childcare business owners. So let's take a look at next steps. I know this was a lot of information, and I know that you all have a lot of questions and suggestions on how to make improvements. So as a team, we wanted to preview this data in light of the report coming out. Data always gets people talking, and we want to have those conversations. Our goal is a coordinated and supportive system for childcare businesses. Data from this survey will be used to help inform the services provided to child care business owners across the state. Excuse me. Additionally, the report will include recommendations to the state on how to better support child care businesses based on the analysis, findings, and what has been directly reported from child care business owners. As a reminder, this webinar slides and the full report will be available on the First Children's Finance website in the coming weeks. And it will also be translated to Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and simplified Chinese. This survey is intended to be repeated annually to be able to observe trends in financial and operational health of businesses over time. And the survey will be repeated in spring 2026. So if you didn't have a chance to participate, we'd love to have you do so next year. Before we finish up, I want you all to know about an exciting event we have coming up. We have our first ever Child Care Business Conference from First Children's Finance, and it's happening at the Willamette Heritage Center in Salem, Oregon, of course. And so there's a little bit of time to register. And if you're seeing this recording after the fact, we will be doing this conference every year. So we look forward to seeing you at the conference or having you with us next year. So our goal is to really maximize the support, starting with a business conference here for you all to enjoy. Next, we offer trainings every month. And so we really try to be the experts and partners in this work with you all to model innovation and growth and care and help communities strategize about how to increase high quality and excellent childcare in our communities. So some of our trainings include budget and cash flow projections, developing a marketing plan, quality staffing, managing enrollment, separating your personal and your business finances, and all of the other topics related to business and operational success. We don't do this work alone. And so, as I mentioned, we are partnering with the Child Care Infrastructure Fund through Business Oregon and the Department of Learning and Care, Early Learning and Care, DELC. And Northwest Native Chamber is our partner in the work for TA. So you can contact us, or you can contact them to get more information about the application process and how we can be supporters and partners with you all as you apply. And last but certainly not least, we would love for you to connect with us at any time. If you have questions just about First Children's Finance and the work of our office, please reach out. If you have questions about this survey in particular, you can reach out to Tasia Harden, and we will be glad to answer any questions you have, including entering conversations about the report itself. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.